I'm excited for this next interview. I want to bring to the screen Jen Senko. She is the author of the book that is being released today, The Brainwashing of My Dad. And I got out of my seat to go get my copy. And she is a documentarian. The book is based on the documentary of the same name, The Brainwashing of My Dad. Jen Senko, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
The pleasure is ours. Can you give the audience, because the title says it all, but could you just give us the elevator pitch of how we should understand what happened to your dad and how you successfully, your family, brought him back from the brink?
I saw a radical change begin to happen in my dad, and I had a bad feeling about it. So a lot of this was intuitive. When he retired, he got a part-time job, had a very long commute to work, and to keep himself company, he started listening to talk radio. Talk radio is still 97% right wing. I don't want to say conservative. Conservative. We wish it was conservative. It's not. It's right wing. So he started with Bob Grant, who was openly racist and sexist, and Bob Grant was just a horrible person. He actually called Martin Luther King a slime ball. So my dad, he was thinking like, this is news, this is educational, it's somebody talking, I'll listen to it. And very gradually he began to change. And, first he was just crankier. And then once he fully retired and he liked the talk radio thing, he found Rush Limbaugh. And then he really drastically changed. And what was so alarming about that was that it wasn't just his politics, it was his personality. He became angry and started hating Democrats. Democrats were vilified, and part of Democrats were women, African Americans, immigrants. That was all part of the Democratic group. But the main group, the umbrella, was Democrats. Everything he heard was aimed at them. And this was because of the Republicans' design to have one-party rule. And that's what made me want to watch the movie, make the movie, because I started studying this, and I wasn't interested in politics before. I was always interested in the influence of media in a way, like in a personal way. And so, the whole family saw him change, and all the time, like, I'm kind of researching, and I found this this movie called The Hunting of the President. And in it, David Brock actually admits that there was a vast right-wing conspiracy, and he was part of it.
Jen, I want to jump in there because for people who have not seen the documentary, and I do recommend that they go see the documentary, but also the book, because you methodically broke down the creation, the motivation, and the long-term strategy of the people who created this right-wing machine, media machine, the Rush Limbaughs. You trace it all the way back to the Nixon administration, and help us to understand the forces that are behind this propaganda machine that brainwashed your father.
Actually, after the movie, as you can tell in the book, I go back even further. I go back to FDR, when the oligarchs started getting really pissed off. Can I say that?
Yes, that's
sorry, Mama. They started getting angry, but, there were no plans made. And then in the 50s, 1954, Brown v. Board of Education happened. And there was this economist, James McGill Buchanan, who was like, I don't want us paying taxes for, kids to go to school, especially African-American kids. We want to keep them down because they're Democrats. And he and the Kochs got together. And then before long, there was the Birch Society, which came out, which had a very extreme platform. No Social Security, no government safety net, anything like that. And that at the time, that was considered kooky, even by Republicans. And but what happened is Goldwater actually adopted that plan. And then in 1964, when he lost, the pundits declared the right is dead. Everybody wanted to be a liberal. It was cool. And that's when they started planning. Well, first they thought, okay, it must be the media, because the media was painting an accurate picture. It was Walter Cronkite, Uncle Walter, and that didn't look good. So they decided that they were going to create this group, AIM, AIM. I guess I'm going off on a tangent, but anyway, that's where it started, to discredit the media as liberal. So that's where the seeds were planted. And then Nixon, yes, he took it a step further, but when he met Roger Ailes, that was a pair made in hell. Because Roger.
Wait a minute. Can you mind if I interject there, because that's an important name that I think a lot of people. We're talking about Richard Nixon and Roger Ailes, the creator, or rather the what is Roger Ailes' position at Fox News? I know he's not there anymore. I know he's dead now, but he is basically the father of Fox News.
Yeah, he is the brains behind it, and this is what is important. And people don't know this, that back then in the Nixon era, there was actually a memo about how to get positive GOP news on TV. And it pretty much was the blueprint for Fox News. So people who say Fox wasn't always bad or partisan, that's not true. Because his goal was to turn viewers into Republicans. And that's it. Sure, it wasn't as extreme back then, but you push the envelope and you keep pushing the envelope, and it becomes extreme because people get numb to what they see, and they're feeding on that anger. The same thing with the Facebook and the algorithms being safe. I remember when I said anger was addictive, people were like, "No, people don't want to be angry." Or fearful. And then I said, well, look at horror movies. Why do people go to horror movies? To become scared. People like righteous movies where they get angry and then it's solved. So what Fox did was create a victim mentality, but then provide this safety net and a tribe for those people to go to.
Jen, so now we see, so the roots go far back beyond Richard Nixon, but we see a flashpoint with Richard Nixon and Roger Ailes, the father of Fox News, creating a memo and a strategy that they have successfully executed ever since. I mean, methodically. They created in your book, you talk about all of the different think tanks that get billions of dollars, and they begin to fund all of this quote unquote research, ultimately resulting in what most people really sit back and consider to be news. They listen to Rush Limbaugh and they thought that it was news. They watch Fox News and they actually think that it's news.